This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Thursday, May 19th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From the New York Times, Russia-Ukraine war summary. After many precursor announcements, both Finnish and Swedish governments have formally submitted their requests to join NATO, and the U.S. government is reportedly putting together a $500 million military aid package for India as part of a larger effort to nudge them away from making more arms deals with Russia, which would make India one of the largest recipients of such funds after Israel and Egypt. The European Union has kicked off an effort to reduce its reliance upon and eventually completely stop importing energy resources like gas, oil, and coal from Russia by spending about $315 billion on more efficient fuels and a whole lot of new renewable power infrastructure. The ultimate goal is to deprive Russia of energy profits while also meeting the bloc's climate goals ahead of schedule, though it will take a while for many of the larger projects that would be funded under this effort to even break ground. From the Associated Press, Congress dives into UFOs, but no signs of extraterrestrials. The U.S. Congress held a public hearing on unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, the modern term for UFOs, on Tuesday, marking the first such hearing for about 50 years. These UAPs have become a bipartisan talking point, in part because the number of reports from folks who know enough about aerial phenomena in general to know when something's weird have been ticking upward for years. But the general consensus seems to be that most such sightings are explainable. Sightings are ticking upward because we have a lot more sensors on things capable of picking up weird stuff, including lens flares and other things that are often mistaken for unidentified aircraft, attached to pretty much everything these days. And the few sightings that aren't yet explained probably aren't aliens, and at the very least, there's zero evidence anyone is willing to share for why these things would be alien in nature, rather than some kind of natural, earthly phenomena. And in other space news from space.com, scientists grow first plants in moon soil. For the first time, researchers have grown Earth plants in lunar soil, increasing the likelihood that food crops could someday be grown using such soil at a future, long-term moon base. The plants grown were not food crops, and the ones grown in the lunar regolith showed visible and genetic signs of stress. But that they grew at all is being seen as a positive and educational development, as it wasn't clear that the powdery, abrasive soil found on the moon would be suitable for even the hardiest of non-genetically modified plants. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.